Okay, so yeah, so the year that you won, sorry, Class One champs, that's the oldest age category in champs, is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
the year that you won that as the bottom of the 2 year age group, would you say that kind of coincides with when you started taking training seriously? And if that's the case, is that were you training then kind of as much as you are now, or as much as you've done typically throughout your professional career?
Yeah, so that was the time that I really started getting serious about track and field. So I actually trained from the start of the training season. I wasn't doing football at all in that year. So I started track training from about September
Okay.
or August, I think it was. We started background training, and then I trained throughout the whole year, throughout Christmas, leading all the way up to champs. And I had one of my best years in track and field, in terms of just throughout all competitions, from champs to Carifta to pen relays to all the events that we had on the calendar for that year. So that is actually when I started really taking training seriously, and
Okay.
trying to really see how much I can get out of this thing and what I can really do. And but the training doesn't compare to professional training, really. Um,
Right.
in terms of the intensity, the level of competition that you face in training as a pro, and the depending on what track club you're training with, obviously, but especially like gym work,
Right.
it's not even close. When I left high school and I went to university and I was training with MVP, like there were pros there, seasoned pros. So you're talking about Nesta Carter, Michael Fraser, Asafa Powell, Jermaine Mason. They're just a bunch of pro, that they're at the top of their game. And when I was looking at how much they were able to, lift in the gym, and how much they were able to handle training load, so being able to train in the morning, then come back for gym in the afternoon, and then have pliers after gym. It was really a lot more than I didn't used to do pliers in high school. So that was new to me when I left. So the training is quite different. It's a lot more load, and it's way more intense.
Did you find that inspirational? Like when you're kind of, I mean, so if I'm putting myself in that situation, even now, I'm 40 years old, but like, especially if I went back to being like a teenager and then all of a sudden I'm training with, you're not even just the best in the country, you're talking about the best in the world and like
Yeah.
seeing what they do on a day-to-day basis. Did you find that sort of like, I feel like I'd be a bit kind of starstruck and just sort of like inspired and sort of wanting to emulate that. Did you find like a sense of that in that situation?
Yeah, so for sure. There was definitely inspiration, and that was one of the reasons why I chose to go to MVP. Because I remember, I think my brother was there. My brother was there training the year before I went there,
Okay.
and sometimes I'd go and I'd see, what they would do up there, and I'd just look and watch everything, watch the training, and I'd be very intrigued by it. And then when to this kind of funny story, but to be very honest, when I saw like everybody coming to training and the cars that they drove to training, I was like, this is
Right.
crazy. This is where I need to be.
Yeah.
This is where the success is at. And at the time, MVP was obviously the biggest track club in the country at that time, because I think racers at the time only really had Bolt
Hmm.
at the time. It wasn't as big, so there wasn't well, Warren Weir didn't come to the fore as yet.
Yeah.
But I think he was there. But it was really Bolt. Blake wasn't the Johan Blake that we know
Yeah.
as yet. So this was before 2011.
Hmm.
Um, and actually this was going into 2011 season.
Right.
So I decided, and there's also a so I went to Wolmer's High, and the coach for MVP went to Wolmer's as well. So there's a Wolmer's connection there. So
Right.
so it was kind of easy, and I was comfortable going there. And then when I got there and saw it can be misleading because when you see how certain people train, you realize that talent is a thing, right? Talent is a real thing. There are some people that can get away with slacking off and doing all sorts of stuff, and they will still be miles better than you,
Mhm.
right? But you also see the mix with that because whereas you might have somebody that's extremely talented that can get away without doing a lot of missing a lot of stuff. There are also the people who are extremely talented who are extremely disciplined and just do everything that they're supposed to do. So there's that mix, and there's you have to be disciplined yourself because there's not really anybody at that point over you saying, okay, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure. So you kind of have to stay on top of your game.
Okay, all right.
So there's that. But it was definitely an inspiration for me. I was definitely starstruck in like my first year. Um, out there, I've never these people are people I see on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go in there for the first year, but I always felt like I belonged there. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like I was also talented, and I'm supposed to be here, and I just need to train and be disciplined and put in the work that I need to put in, and there'll be success that follows. So
So have you remained with MVP throughout your entire professional career? Is that correct or not correct?
for most of my
Okay.
career, I went there in 2011, the end of
Yeah.
2011,
Yeah.
and then I was there up until 2021.
Okay. All right. And
So I left 2021.
yeah. So am I right in saying that your main coach would have been Stephen Francis? Is that correct, or is that not correct as
Yes.
well? That is correct. Okay.
Well,
Go
yeah.
on.
So he was my first pro coach.
Okay. And who's coaching you now then? Sorry, who's
So it's
coaching you
Ronaldo
now?
Walcott.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
Ronaldo Walcott. I
Okay.
think we're having some issues with the connection. It's been good so far. I don't know why it wants
Okay, I've
to
got you.
hate on us right now. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
so Ronaldo Walcott, that's the league performance.
Okay. All right. Cool.